The book is called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. And the big terrible thing is, of course, your struggles with addiction over the years that you talk about in this book. It's a dark book, it's a real book, it's a very funny book, but again, there's reality there and there's darkness there. And I want to start kind of where all that began, which is the first time you had a drink you write about.
Yeah.
You were 14 in the backyard, somewhere in Ontario, right?
Ottawa.
You were with a couple of buddies. What do you remember from that night?
Well, I mean, that was pretty heavy. I was with my best friends, the Murray brothers, and we decided, we didn't know what we were doing, you know, and they got some beers, and I got a bottle of wine called Anwar's Baby Duck, was the name of it. And I drank the entire bottle, and lay in the ground and looked at the skies and just felt better than I ever had in my entire life. And I thought to myself, this is probably what normal people feel like all the time.
Well, who were normal people?
You. No. You know, people who just walk the face of the earth, people. And I finally felt at home for the very first time. As soon as I drank alcohol, I just loved it, and I had a much different reaction than the Murrays did, and I had a much different reaction than normal people have. Normal people have a drink and they feel a little, you know, woozy, and then they, you know, go home and go to work. I have a drink, and for the first time in 3 weeks, life seems to make sense. And why would you not want to drink if that happened to you all the time, you know?
So you realized in that moment that other people seem to be responding to booze this way, and I'm responding in a different way.
Yes, but I didn't understand it at all because I was 14 years old, and I didn't know what was happening to me. I just knew I had some issue with this thing, and it's a progressive disease, so it gets worse and worse as you get older. So you'd think I would have a drink the very next night, but I didn't. And then, you know, as I was like 18, 19, 20, then it really started to kick in. I was drinking every night. It was a secret. I would drink with my pals. I would race to a liquor store at 1:45 so I could have alcohol at my house and drink more than I did with my friends. And it just became this roller coaster ride that I didn't understand.
But even at the beginning, Matthew, you talk about how, like, even when you were a little baby, you still had an experience with pills.
It's tough because I'm going to tell you a story, and I don't blame my parents at all for this, and you'll see why. But I was a colicky kid, and I used to cry all the time, and I was constantly crying. And my parents took me to a doctor, and he was an older doctor, and he wore a white coat, and he said, if your baby's crying, just give him this. And they said, okay. And it was phenobarbital, which is a major barbiturate and a very addictive thing. And I was 30 days old. And they gave it to me for 30 days. So from 30 to 60, and there's pictures of me looking like knocked out. Like, my face was all squinched. I was like, and they would laugh because, you know, stoned babies are fun, I guess. But I know that it affected my sleep forever. I don't really sleep that well, and I'm pretty sure it's because of that. But if I was a parent and it was 1970 and I was given this by a doctor and the baby stopped crying, I would do it too. But, you know, now it's like, well, you fucking crazy?